Hello and welcome to this week's video. This week I'm doing a review of the Honda CB125F. Rather than this just being a sort of quick initial impressions review, this bike is actually my wife's. It's just come up to its year's anniversary of us owning it. It's literally just had its service as well, its annual service. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a review since I'm out on it anyway. So first off is the seating position. So super comfortable, nice and upright, nice wide bars, so you've got plenty of control, very manoeuvrable, manageable. Mirrors are well out as well, so you're not getting shoulders and elbows in the way. You've got really good rear visibility. There's sort of no problems with vibrations at higher speeds either with those, so you've got really good visibility and a really comfortable riding position. Seat wise, seats quite big, quite comfy, so you can move around on that, so that's good. Suspension wise for comfort, then suspension's decent. It's probably errs on the side of hard rather than soft, but does the job nicely, and it's certainly not uncomfortable. So yeah, so it ticks all those boxes. Dash and sort of instruments, then as you can see, we've got mainly analog type dashboard rather than TFT screens or anything. You've got your speed on the left with your odometer and trip meter. Then on the right you've got your rev counter, your neutral light. You've got these really big indicators, which for a sort of 125 and a learner bike is really good because you don't miss seeing those. They're not just small, and they're quite bright and big. And you've got your gear position indicator too, so again really handy. And the final thing on there is the fuel gauge. I'm glad to see it's got a proper fuel gauge rather than just a light, or some bikes still do amazingly nothing at all. So yeah, so that sort of has everything you'd sort of want and need. So handling wise, then yes, it's got quite sort of small skinny tyres, but it handles really nicely. You're not going to go barreling round any corners at ridiculous speeds anyway, but it's nice and it's manageable. So as I say, because it's so sort of light, it's very, very agile at sort of higher speeds like this, or at low speeds, that lightness, and it's got really good sort of lock as well, so as a commuter and for getting through traffic, it's a brilliant bike. At these sort of higher speeds you can probably hear a bit of wind noise, and that's because you have zero protection. It's a naked bike. Looks wise, I think it's a nice looking bike, and I'm sure that these sculpted bits at the front are ensuring that I'm just getting clean air. I'm not getting blasted in the face or anything, and the wind's definitely not turbulent. Performance wise, it is just a 125, but it's a decent 125. It goes nicely, there's no vibrations, it's really smooth engine. As you can see, you easily keep up with traffic even on these big A roads. And actually changing gears, the gearbox is super smooth. You hardly have to touch the pedal and it changes down. I've never known a gearbox be as simple to use really. And talking of simple to use, the whole bike is just a real easy to ride bike. There's no problems with it at all. Everything's just nice and easy. So obviously for a learner rider, then it would make a really good bike because you're not worrying about clutches been too harsh and difficult gearboxes and brakes being snatchy. The brakes on this bike are great, front and rear brakes, and they're both really progressive as well. So positives of the bike is how easy this thing is to ride. As a learner machine, it's absolutely perfect in my opinion. My second big positive is reliability. As I said, we've had this bike just over a year. It was a year old when we bought it, and we've had zero problems, not a single issue. We've done a couple of thousand miles. It's just had its first service. The first service was £100, and again, there was sort of nothing needed doing. It's not missed a beat at all. Sort of running costs absolutely minimal. Again, being a 125, road tax I think these days is only £17 a year. It gets over 100 miles per gallon. You can't get on two wheels for much cheaper than that. Like I say, £100 for a sort of annual service, and that was with a Honda main dealer as well. They checked everything over, adjusted and lubricated everything, and again they said everything's perfect with the bike. So my wife's absolutely loved it. It's her first bike. She used it a lot more than I was expecting, so that's been brilliant. From a practicality point of view, then the only thing we've done is added a top box, and that's made it a lot easier for sort of carrying capacity obviously, and it means my wife can use it for going to the office and putting a laptop in if she wants in summer. And we've done some big rides in summer too, with me on my much bigger bike and her on this, and it's fine. There's sort of couple of 100-mile journeys in a weekend, things like that, which on a 125 could be hard work, where this has done it and she's handled that brilliantly. So any negatives? Like most modern bikes, really struggle with the negatives because most bikes are really good. Probably the only negative that I can think of, and it's not a huge thing, is at higher speed. So if you're doing 60 mile an hour, something like that, then the front end to me feels a little bit light, but this isn't designed to be a speed machine. It's fine at those sorts of speeds, but like I say, I find it as a preference, it feels a little bit light, but that may be just me and my thoughts about that. Apart from that, then I can't really think of any real negatives with this bike. It sort of does everything it should. It looks good, it rides really well. This engine's superb. I've ridden a lot of single cylinder bikes, especially recently, and it's just so smooth is this. It's incredibly quiet and super smooth. No matter what revs you're at, you don't get any vibrations whatsoever sort of through the pegs, the seat, or the bars. I believe these bikes, they have sort of balancing shafts to counter any vibrations, so that definitely works. So who do I think this bike's aimed at? Well, obviously with it being a 125, people who are learning have just got the CBT, and I think it's a really, really good bike for that, and for people to sort of find their feet and get on two wheels and get used to riding a motorbike. I think it'd be a great option. Also, as just a commuter bike, as I said, we've put a top box on to make that side of things easier. Through traffic it's fine, speed wider it's fine, really manoeuvrable, good for filtering because it's not wide, and you've got really good visibility sort of over traffic as well. So yeah, so it would work as a great commuting bike. So in summary, what do I think? I just think it's the perfect starter bike, really. It looks good, it's easy to ride, being a Honda, super reliable, rides really nicely, there's no sort of rattles, everything's decent quality. Even cost, then I think brand new, I think they're around £2,500 now. And again, being a Honda, they sort of keep the money and hold the value well. So you can pick these up, admittedly older than this one, but still the CB125F rather than the previous model, which is quite dated by comparison now. You can pick those up for around £1,500 now. So that £1,500 to £2,000 mark is getting you a really, really good bike. So that's it for this review. Hope you found that useful. Obviously, with this being a long-term bike and one we actually own, if you've any questions, then do feel free to ask, especially about the sort of ownership angle rather than just what's it like to ride for a day, and I'm sure we can help. So please do like this, leave any comments and questions, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week.